Hey everybody, on today's episode of the Faster Fitness Show, we're gonna give you 10 ways to make fitness and nutrition sustainable. Stay tuned. Welcome back everybody to another episode of the Faster Fitness Show. I am Frankie, this is Ivan. Today we're gonna give you 10 ways to make fitness and nutrition sustainable. I think our approach for the last couple of years is, how do we make this sustainable for you? How do we make it into a lifestyle? With so much information about dieting and high intensity this and that, there's no wonder why people can't stick to anything, because nothing is sustainable. So we hope to give you 10 ways to make this all sustainable for you. So I'll start it off with saying you need to find a gym that offers what you want. Right?
100%.
Do you want to learn how to lift weights? Do you maybe you want to get better at running? Maybe you want to do an obstacle course race? What is it that you want? And I think Ivan always loves that. What's your goal? What do you want to accomplish? Because just knowing that, besides just, I want to be healthier. Being healthier isn't going to help you find the gym that works for you, because I think if you can narrow down what you want, it's easier to look for and ask the right questions at these gyms to direct you in where you want to go to. So that's my first one.
On top of knowing what your goal is, which is something I absolutely love, on top of that, I really stand by people being very happy with their decision when it comes to fitness, right? So I'm a huge advocate for telling people, hey, right here in this gym at Faster Fitness, we focus on strength and conditioning. That's our style. But for some people who maybe it's just not a good fit, I will let them know, hey, what are some things that you like? Do you like cycling? Do you like yoga? Whatever. And then we'll point them in the right direction. So what we're going to tell you here, what are these top 3 things that you enjoy doing? Maybe you took a class that was Zumba, right? If you like Zumba, then you should probably go do Zumba, right? Whatever the case is. But you gotta narrow your focus, narrow what is it that you like, and go to a gym that actually provides you with that service, because guaranteed that if you go somewhere where you feel like you're in a like-minded community, and we're gonna emphasize the word community, because all these places at some extent have a community involved, which is what actually gets you to that goal, right? Obviously there's work involved, but you need to go to a gym that offers what you like, and that's gonna make you happy in the long term. So that's definitely number one when it comes to your health and your fitness.
I think too, with adding on that, is going and trying a place out. Just try it out for a week, 2 weeks. See, most people, we have trial offers. Every gym should have some type of trial offer. Go in there and test it. It's almost like a test drive with the car. You're not gonna buy a car unless you drove it around, been on the inside, kind of felt it out, see if it feels right. Do that. We understand even here that we're probably not the best fit for everybody. That's why we have trial offers, so you're not signing up for something crazy without knowing that you actually like it and enjoy it. So I would highly, highly recommend taking 6-8 weeks and be upfront with the people at the gym. Because if you came in here and told us, I want to try it out for 2 weeks, I want to try out a couple other gyms after this, because I know sometimes people can bombard you. They'll call you every day. Have you thought about a membership? We don't like to do that at all. We'll definitely check back in with you to see if there's anything we can do to help you move forward too. So just be upfront and honest, hey, I want to come do your whatever trial. I'm trying to figure out a gym or what works best for me right now too. So that's the best approach, I think, for number one, which is find a gym that offers what you want. Moving on to number 2, stop always dieting, right? If your whole emphasis around fitness and nutrition always revolves just around weight loss and dieting and crash dieting and doing the next challenge or things like that, you are never, ever, 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 ever going to make this sustainable, because all you're ever gonna do is be committed for 4 weeks, for 6 weeks, for 8 weeks, for 12 weeks. When that ends, your motivation's gonna go down the drain, and you're just gonna stop doing it, and then a couple months gonna go by, someone's gonna offer you another 12-week program, you're gonna do that again, and then constantly all you're ever trying to do is lose weight, lose weight, lose weight, lose weight, which means dieting and dieting and dieting and dieting. I've never ever met somebody in here, a client, we're coming over 8 years, where they've been with us for that long, or they've been super consistent, and all they ever are doing is dieting and trying to lose weight, right? So
I mean, you got to understand that obviously the appeal there is great. 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 days, 30, whatever the case may be. It's appealing and it's like a kickstart. But I think we hold too much weight to those things, meaning that we think this is going to solve our problems. That we think that this is going to get us over this hump that we're experiencing right now. And that is the wrong approach. And the reason why is because, hey, you have a lot of life left in you. And if you're going to be doing 4 weeks at a time, 8 weeks at a time, stopping, doing it again, stopping, doing it again, this is going to, and you want to continue to be healthy forever, this is going to be a very long road for you. I'm going to be really honest with you. It's going to be a long road. So again, a lot of this comes down to mindset. Even when we talk about the nutrition aspect of things, your mindset has to revolve around a lifelong of good habits, a lifelong of doing the approach again that makes you happy. Nutrition, happiness, I think those two things should tie in very well together. And if you're just doing diet after diet after diet, most likely you're going to see no results, because Frankie can tell you start adapting to certain types of diets, you start adapting to certain protocols that might not work for you. So it's just time to find a long-term solution that you just stick to, knowing that it's going to be a roller coaster throughout the year. But that's why, you just consistently do more good than you do bad. I think you should be all right.
Yep, it's a Band-Aid effect, right? Dieting constantly, you're just putting a Band-Aid over everything that you should be fixing in your life and your lifestyle, and making this more sustainable. You don't always need to be, oh, I can't go out, I'm doing this 12-week challenge or whatever, and then go completely the opposite when it's done. You're always going to gain your weight back, you're probably going to gain more weight back, and you're just going to constantly repeating it, and you're never going to make this sustainable for you. So that was number 2, stop always dieting. What's number 3, Evan?
Number 3, when it comes to improving your health and fitness, is hiring a coach. Just like anything else in your life, when you are wanting to improve something in your life, in your business, in your relationship, there's people who have some insight, a little bit more than you do. They have a little bit more knowledge in that space because they're probably experts in that space. Why not seek out more information? Why not seek out their knowledge so it can improve your lifestyle, it can improve your fitness, like whatever the case may be. I'm a huge advocate for hiring help. I'm a huge advocate for just seeking more knowledge that's going to improve different aspects of my life. So when we talk about fitness, if you've been maybe going to like the big box gyms forever, maybe you've been there for about 10 years, 15 years, and you do the same routine. You jump on the treadmill for about 5-10 minutes, and then you try to go to the weight room, and then you try to read how to do the different exercises. You maybe do a set, you maybe didn't like it, so you jump to the other machine. You do the same thing, you read how it's done, you do it again, and then think to yourself, hey, that was a good workout, it's time to go home. And then you go eat a burger. Like that's not the correct approach. So when it comes to a coach, like they're gonna have some expertise behind them where like they're a good coach. I think a good coach is somebody who's going to digest what your current lifestyle is like right now. They're going to digest what are your goals. They're going to want to know your non-negotiables. I'm very big on that. What are your non-negotiables? And then we work around that. And then we set up goals. We do check-ins every 30 days. And there's so much to it. But the thing is, I think the number one thing there when it comes to hiring a coach is the accountability piece. Say some more about the accountability and why that's important.
Yeah, anybody, we all want to be held accountable at your job. You have certain things you need to do and you have deadlines you need to get done. That's accountability. If you have kids, you're a parent, you need to make sure that they have things done at a certain time that they're doing things. That's accountability, right? That's what a coach is. Like, you miss a week, we're calling you like, hey, where you been? Just checking in, see where you're at. Where when you don't have that, you don't show up to a 24-hour fitness, they don't really care.
No.
They're not gonna call and check because you haven't been there in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, right? So I think just like hiring a coach is, you're hiring them because they've been through the process that you're looking to go through, or they've failed enough times where they've learned how to help you streamline that process. Every fitness coach, every nutrition coach, we didn't just start out being fit and learning how to eat all this. It was a process. Typically, most of the times fitness, like people in the fitness industry, it's an ego thing, right? We are, it's an ego thing that started with them where they wanted to look better, they wanted to be the strongest, or some insecurities that got them into this. And, it was years of doing, of learning and doing these things to get to where they are, and then now that's why, we're in a place where we can coach you through things that we've done wrong and how you shouldn't do that, or, how to streamline this process to make it sustainable too. So hiring a coach was number 3 of how to make this sustainable. Number 4 is on the nutrition side, try healthy recipes. Right? I posted on Facebook the other day, what's the worst diet advice you ever got from somebody or a coach? And one of them was like, just eat chicken and broccoli. I don't know why that's people's go-to meal when they're eating quote unquote healthy, but that's not sustainable. Yeah, majority of your meals should be pretty simple and basic and not to have too many crazy ingredients in it, because it means it's less calories. Less calories helps you with achieving your goal. But you should try out healthy recipes to help you stay on track, to stay motivated. I know when I'm getting bored with my food, I love to try a new recipe. Gets me excited. I look forward to eating that meal, and I look forward to sharing it. I just had a client, her first nutrition consultation, and literally out of everything that she said to me, the only 2 things I'm having her do was we're incorporating a protein shake, and she's trying out 1 recipe per week with her family for the next month, and that's literally it. I think just trying new recipes helps you stay motivated and focused, so that way you're not eating the same boring things. Sometimes it can get boring, and I understand that. It's part of the game. But so that you don't go way off to the other side of going to get fast food and things, I think just once a week, whether it's on a Wednesday, Thursday, towards mid to the end of the week, add a new recipe into it. That way you start building up recipes of, I really like this one, I didn't like this one. And then all of a sudden, you look down a year later and you have all these, recipes in your repertoire of essentially these are some of my go-to meals now too. Yeah. Anything to add on to that?
I mean, for me, my routine's a little bit different, since a lot of you may know that I don't cook very well, and I don't look at recipe books, and I don't look at any of these things. But what I do is I have a meal prep service that I absolutely like. AP Meal Prep. They service all of Orange County and LA. Shout out there. They have an extensive menu with tons of recipes that I don't have to think about. So if I'm not in the mood for having chicken and broccoli, I'm having different dishes of chicken, different dishes of turkey, fish, steak, whatever the case may be, whatever I'm craving. That's what I do on a weekly basis. I don't get bored with my food. My palate's very basic when it comes to food, so I don't really have a ton of emotions when it comes to what I'm eating, so don't really care there. But if I am craving something different, my case is a little bit different than Frankie's, and I agree that you should try different things. And for my routine, the meal prep has an extensive menu, so I definitely do choose around that. So
it works.
It works.
Him,
it works for me.
Maybe JP will sponsor our podcast. I'm just throwing it out there.
Just throwing it out there. All right, perfect. Moving on to the 5th thing. Okay, so the 5th thing is signing up for a race. So we're big advocates for events and training for different events throughout the year, because it spices up the whole routine. It spices up what you do on a day-to-day, especially in here. We focus a lot on strength and conditioning, but all of that stuff is great, but there's always, the good thing is to look forward to something. I think that, when the race is 12 weeks out or 6 weeks out, whatever, you tend to work a little bit, a little bit more consistent, you work a little bit harder, and then when the day comes, it's very exciting. It's game day, it's race day. And I think that's something that a lot of our members like here, especially when we get big groups to go to Spartan. That one year we did it, we had about 50, 60 people go to Temecula. That was amazing. It was just a phenomenal time, Thoughts about that?
I think with a race, with fitness, especially with strength and conditioning, it can get repetitive, as much as we try to fluff up your routine every once in a while. There's just a foundation of things that we need to do on a daily and consistent basis, like squatting and deadlifting and bench pressing and overhead pressing, because we're trying to get you to perfect those movements and get better and stronger at them. And it can get boring, it can get repetitive. I fall into that category sometimes where, you don't always want to go to the gym. You need to go to the gym, so you go, but signing up for a race kind of puts some juice back into you, you know, and I know next year I'm going to do something crazy that I said I would do like 4 years ago, and that's like doing an Ironman. And I think, April 2021, I'm putting it out in the universe. That's when I'm doing it at 31, because 31 is my favorite number. But, right now I'm in a point where I'm really into just getting stronger and strength and conditioning. But I know come September, that's when I need to start training for it. My training's going to completely change. My routine's going to change. It's kind of exciting to think about it, switching it up, and it helps me stay motivated that I know like a date of this is when I'm racing. This is what my training should be leading up to it too. So I think just having a race 2-3 times a year is exciting to just kind of keep you motivated and keep you going, and that's what keeps it sustainable, right? I don't think I've ever, in the almost coming up to 20 years of lifting and things, it's never just been the same thing every single year, in the sense of I'm always doing just getting stronger, bodybuilding, things like that. There's times when I was really big in the obstacle course racing, and then there's times when I wasn't, and trying different things like that too. So that was number 5, sign up for a race. Number 6 is to Ivan take a cooking class. So Ivan should definitely take a cooking class now that
I'm open to it.
Now 100%. That he's a
100%.
homeowner. He said that when he bought a home, he'd learn how to barbecue and he would learn how to cook. So I'm calling him out on the podcast. But taking a cooking class, go on Groupon right now. They have a ton of them. So that's more on the nutrition side, to learn, again, with the recipe and trying healthy recipes at home. But I think sometimes learning and taking a cooking class, I've done one in my lifetime. It was a lot of fun, and it's just something unique and new. Again, it's little things to help keep you motivated through the year too. So when are you taking your cooking class, Ivan?
I mean, whenever I get my grill, which will be a while from now.
Taylor, sign him up for one.
But here's the thing. I mean, the thing about fitness, the thing about life is being open to new things and being open to new experiences. I'm all about experiences, and I want to get better at my craft, which is no craft right now when it comes to nutrition and
avocado
cooking.
Toast. He makes good avocado toast, he says.
But I mean, here's the thing. When it comes to improving my nutrition, yes, I have to get better at that if I want to be more consistent, and if I want to just improve that aspect of my entire nutrition and fitness, I have to get better at that. So I'm willing to do it. Under the right circumstances, which was buying my house and having a yard and having a grill. So now it's all coming together. Hey, so now I got to take action on it. So that's number 6 as far as improving your health and your fitness. Number 7 is getting outside and training, getting some sunlight. Okay, I'm mainly speaking to Southern Californians. Okay, because if you live somewhere back east, it's cold, and I feel bad.
You probably should stay inside.
You probably should stay in the gym. So anyway, training outside.
Yeah. So I think training outside, obviously you get the vitamin D. If there's something called grounding, if you've never heard of grounding, it's just being in touch with nature. The best way to describe grounding for most people, if you've ever been to the beach all day, you go from like 10 in the morning to like 4 or 5, and then after you're completely wiped out, and you sleep like a baby, and that's just because your body is soaked in all like the vitamins and minerals from the sand and the water and the sun. So training outside, doing some like trail runs or the stairs, or just going outside and doing something, there's just something about it that like makes you feel good. And so adding, especially once it becomes summertime here, I try to add at least one day a week of something where I'm getting outside, getting some sun, because I know you just feel better doing it too. So that's kind of more of it. Again, these 10 things are how to make your fitness journey sustainable. So they're little things you can plug in. Essentially, it's like motivation. Motivation is short term. It's like drinking caffeine. You need to constantly be doing things. Same thing like getting outside. It's just a little thing to help you make this more sustainable. So that was number 7. Number 8, stop doing it alone, right? If you're, again, going back to the big box gym thing, if you're just going to the gym, getting on the elliptical, running 45 minutes, sitting in the sauna, calling it a day, and wondering why you're not getting results, well, it's obvious you need to change your routine. But sometimes just doing this journey alone is very daunting, and it's very it doesn't feel as satisfying sometimes, especially when you're in the gutter and there's always the ebbs and flows through this journey where you're just feeling real good and then sometimes you're not. And that's why going back to the hiring a coach also helps with this, and then having some accountability, being a part of a community like ours, having a spouse. I always think that too is when a husband and wife are doing it together, there's no stopping them, right? Because they have that teamwork and that unity, and they're doing it together and not alone too. So
Yeah, I mean, my thing with that too is we're not kind of downing anybody who does it on their own, because it can 100% be done with a good routine.
it's very hard to do.
It's very difficult to do, rather than when you go through these ebbs and flows, obviously it's inevitable, things will happen in life, but we have people come in here and work out even when things aren't going so well in life or whatever the case may be. But when you're around people who just high five you for whatever reason, and you get about 10, 20, 30 of those in a single session, that's going to make you feel pretty damn good after an hour of just, where you thought you were having a bad day, and then you come in, first of all, you get your workout in. Again, no one ever feels bad after a workout. So you got that endorphin rush, you got the community aspect of that touch, that human touch that is very much needed in the world, as far as just sharing love, even when you don't know a person like that. We get that here every single day, which is a reason I think him and I are so grateful to be in an environment like this. And I really do think that having a community behind you makes you that much more successful, and it makes this process a lot more sustainable, 100%. So that's number 8, guys. So we move on to number 9, our final 2. Okay, number 9 is taking recovery days. We've talked a lot about this in previous podcasts. We talked about how less is more. You just have to go about it the correct way. So I'm going to send it over to Frankie because he loves his recovery days.
Yeah, I do. Less is more. We talk about that, but more is more too. So especially if you're somebody that is grinding real hard right now in the gym, you're super consistent right now. You're hitting your 5-6 days a week, but then eventually you're going to hit a point where your body's going to talk back to you and say, hey, slow down. And in the sense of your joints, right? Like right now I've been experiencing a little bit of tendonitis in my elbows. That's my body telling me to slow down a little bit, right? So I always tell people, slow down right now so that you're not out for 6-8 weeks, right? You take, instead of going 6 days that week, maybe you just go 4 days, taking those 2 extra days off, right? So it's like, helps you recover more so that you can get back into being consistent again, right? So just taking recovery days is more for the fact of you people that are pushing it, especially if you do the high intensity type of exercise modalities. If you're at Orange Theory, if you're at F45, you're doing CrossFit, things like that, man, that stuff is a lot on your body day in and day out. And if you're somebody that's a grinder and a hustler in the sense of you're super consistent with doing that stuff, you will run into a wall eventually. If you don't do it, if you don't take recovery days, your body will take it from you in the sense of injuries and things like that too. So to make this whole thing, again, the whole goal is to make fitness and nutrition sustainable. Take recovery days, listen to your body. And last but not least, moving on to number 10, how to make fitness and nutrition sustainable. You need to smile more. Be happy. Be happy more, smile. I always say smile because it adds to your face value, right? If you ever smile at somebody and they don't smile back, man, that person is at a very low. Because there's not a lot of times when you smile at people, and they don't smile back. Typically, you smile at someone, they smile back at you. You wave hi to someone, they wave back to you, right? Somebody could be having a terrible day. They walk through those front doors. We smile, say their name, give them a hug. That could have just changed their whole day right there too, right? So sometimes you need to, and when it comes to fitness and nutrition, sometimes you just need to smile more, appreciate how far you've come, where you're at, and where you're going to. And sometimes it's literally just smiling and patting yourself on the back. So
yeah, 100%. This is something so simple, but yet so powerful. And it's funny that this is number 10 on this podcast because I was literally sitting having breakfast the other day, and it was right by a Starbucks, so a lot of heavy traffic there. And if you're like me, you probably like to people watch as much as I do, right? And my thing is, I saw someone waiting for a friend, and then that friend finally showed up, and the big smile, it seemed like they haven't seen each other in a very long time. And that big smile and that like interchange of just giving each other a hug and smiling at each other. It's so beautiful. It's awesome. It's really, really cool, and I think that when you throw that out there to your loved ones and even random people, like you're just spreading a lot more light and joy. And you know that I'm a huge advocate for happiness. Whether if you don't feel it, especially the days you don't feel it is when the days you should be doing it the most.
Yep.
So 100% keep smiling, keep being happy. And these were the 10 things to do in order to improve your health and your fitness and make it sustainable for a lifelong healthy journey. So thank you for joining us on this podcast today. We really appreciate it. We'll see you next time.